We have the Mariners getting Jorge Polanco. And everyone, I actually just came out with a video last week on some blockbuster trades that I wanted to see. And this was one of the trades I wanted to see. Now, I didn't get the exact players right? I had a few different ones going back to the Twins in exchange for Jorge Polanco. Ended up not being those guys. However, I have come up with some trade proposals before where Gabriel Gonzalez was involved. So I'm not surprised to see him get moved here. Just a solid outfield prospect. Put up some pretty good numbers last year in the minor leagues. But let's go through this, shall we? So going back to the Twins, you got 4 players overall. Anthony DeSclafani, Major League ready. Of course, like I said, Gabriel Gonzalez. We got a couple other guys as well. Another Major League ready guy in Justin Topa, and Darren Bowen is another minor league guy. So overall, a pretty balanced package of Major League and minor league guys. And I like it for the Twins, honestly. And the big reason I like it for the Twins is it frees up some space, right? If we actually go here to the Twins depth chart, what this does is it frees up some time for Julian, right? He pretty much took over that job last year at second base, and this guy was raking last year. So this is basically his job, right? He had a pretty solid year when it came to the on base, right? At a 358 on base. Let's see if he can get the slugging up a little bit. But man, he's not even 25 years old yet. He really showed some promise last year. But I like that it frees up some space here when it comes to the DH spot. You got a little freedom, right? You got some other guys here. You can move some other guys around. And I think that's going to be good for Byron Buxton, to be completely honest with you. I would not put Byron Buxton as a full-time center fielder. I just don't think that's a good idea. You need to get that guy off of his feet. Yeah, absolutely. If he is healthy, right, he's a good center fielder, a very good center fielder. But the problem is he able to go play center field? So I think you got to ease Buxton into it. I would be very hesitant about playing him back-to-back days out in center field, to be completely honest. Maybe I sound a little crazy, but I wouldn't be putting that guy out there back-to-back days in center right off the bat. Maybe once you get to the second half, maybe you can kind of manage that volume a little bit, maybe bump it up a notch. But I don't know, man. I'm going to give that guy a lot of DH time in the first half, kind of ease into it a little bit. You got to manage that volume out there. But overall, I like it for the Twins because it really frees up some space. It gives them some more freedom to, work in some platoons, work in some different matchups. And, in the end with Jorge Polanco, when he was around, he was very good, right? 80 games last year, though. He did miss some time. So if he is healthy, we always say that, if healthy, right? I hate having to say that over and over and over again, but it's kind of one of those things. We got so many good players in the major leagues, but you can't see their full potential because they just can't stay on the field. So let's see if going to Seattle will be a good home for Polanco. Either way, I think if he does stay on the field, this is a great move for the Mariners. I really like this move overall, because what this does is it extends their lineup just a little bit more. When you looked at that lineup last year with the Mariners, you saw a pretty good lineup, right? But then some guys just weren't coming around, right? Jared Kelenic got off to that hot start. Eventually he got hurt, right? And now he's not even with the Mariners anymore. And then you had Ty France really struggle last year. So they had problems with that lineup. And now when I'm looking at this lineup, I see much more extension. I see Mitch Haniger batting 8th. Listen, say what you will about Mitch Haniger last year, but a couple of years ago, go back to when he was with the Mariners, guy hit bombs. So I think that's, if Haniger, again, if healthy, I hate saying those two words, but if healthy, Haniger, he's going to give you a decent bat, right? The 420 slugging, whatever, but he was very off last year. Just, he did miss some time, right? And he was hurt, right, at times. So if Haniger can get back to what he was doing, all right, well, actually, these are the projections. What am I doing here? Here we go. My goodness, Fangraphs, I hate when they do that, when they switch to the projections, and it throws me off because I'm looking at the stats I'm thinking I'm looking at the stats from 2023, and I was just looking at that. I'm like, wait, Haniger had over 500 plate appearances last year? I'm like, I thought he was hurt. No, he had 229 plate appearances. I take back what I just said. He did not have a 420 slugging. He had a 365 slugging. So, Fangraphs, you're killing my potato brain right now. So, overall, again, if Haniger is healthy and if he's batting in the bottom of the order, I mean, goodness, there's a lot of extension in this lineup. I like the top of it with Crawford and Rodriguez, and now you got Polanco there in the 3-hole. Garver, good cleanup bat. Riley getting some good production in the 5 spot. France, hopefully he can bounce back, right? Give you more production this coming year. The on base with him was still pretty good last year, but the slugging numbers went down. So, you got Luke Raley. So I think that's a pretty solid get for them. Let's see how they utilize him. And now Urias is going to be moving to more of a bench role. So let's see what they do there. Are they going to go with Rojas at third? Or are they going to go with Urias, right? And I was kind of thinking, either one of these guys, I think, can play that infield utility kind of a role. So I think what they end up doing is you're probably going to see both of these guys get some at-bats in different spots. So we'll see. But in the end, man, if this is what the lineup ends up being for the Mariners, I think that's pretty good. So, Danny, man, you're saying zoom in. I don't know, man. I don't think. Let me see if I can do that real quick. I don't think I can zoom in. Oh, you know what? Here, I can do this. How about this? Does that work? Does that work, Danny? Let's see. How does that look? Okay, that's a little better. Is that good? Is this good, everyone? Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if this is okay. I know, I kind of wanted to add a little spice to this scene. I feel like this looks pretty good now. That looks good? Okay, cool. All right, I see a couple of you saying it's better. All right, awesome. Oh, yeah, you're right. It does look a little better, doesn't it? So, in the end, I think this Mariners lineup is a lot better now. You got bats up and down 1 through 9. Now, are they, the murderers row Yankees? No. But I think top to bottom, there's a lot of different kind of bats here, and I like it overall. Now, we were just talking about the Mariners where there were rumors about Dylan Cease. And I was telling all of you last night, I'm thinking, why would the Mariners want Dylan Cease? Because they don't need pitching. It was funny because I thought about it more today, and I was wondering, I'm like, because last night I was talking about the idea if the Mariners and the White Sox came together on a trade, maybe the White Sox could include Yoan Moncada. Maybe I was onto something there, right? And maybe they kind of turned their attention to the Twins here. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that was a possibility at one point, because I didn't understand how the White Sox and the Mariners were just going to do a straight-up trade for Dylan Cease. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense because it just seemed counterintuitive. Then I thought about it a little bit more today, and I had a friend tell me this, actually, and I was like, what about a 3-team trade? I thought that was a possibility at one point today. And I'm thinking, well, because maybe the Mariners weren't exactly interested in Cease. Because think about it, right? Go back to the Dodgers. There was talks that they were looking at Dylan Cease and they were going to flip him to another team. So I started thinking, oh, maybe that's what the Mariners are doing, right? Or maybe it's a 3-team trade where Dylan Cease could go to a team, like the Cubs or something like that. Maybe like Morel could have gone to the Mariners. And then you could have had some pieces like Bryce Miller or Brian Wu, maybe a prospect from each team, something, right? Some kind of a combination where they kind of fill in the gaps for each other. And I thought maybe that could have been a possibility today, right? 3-team trade. So maybe that could have been a way for the Mariners to get a bat while being involved in a Dylan Cease trade. So, in the end, this is what we have. And I'm wondering if there were other talks like that. Like I said, like Moncada, or, maybe Christopher Morel came up at some point, something, right? In the end, they get a bat, and Jorge Polanco, he's as talented as they come. And one thing I like about Jorge Polanco, he's a switch hitter. I love that. I love that they have a couple of switch hitters in this lineup. You got Polanco and O'Reilly now. I love that. So overall, I think this is a good move for both sides. And of course, I have to go to baseball trade values. We have to look at the trade. And I did see a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is an overpay." No, this wasn't an overpay. Now we don't know the exact cash, I would say. Now, people, you got to remember here. You got to remember, just because you're giving up 4 players for one doesn't make it an overpay, right? DeSclafani was an underwater contract, not by a lot, but, you had to kind of, just consider the fact, DeSclafani, ERA at a 4.88, a FIP at a 4.35. He's a depth guy, nothing crazy. So you weren't really getting a whole ton with him. Right, considering what you're paying him. DeSclafani, he's making $12 million this coming year, and he's not giving you $12 million worth of production. He's going to give you a decent amount, but not $12 million, right? So, and according to the projections, he's only projected this coming year to give right around $11 million, and so that's a big thing you have to think about too. And this is how they work in the projections here on baseball trade values. Is when you see the AFV, right? That's future value. That's what you got to look at, right? So again, pay attention to these two things. What the heck did I just do? Pay attention to these two things. Salary is at 12. Future value is at 10.9. So you just subtract the future value, what they're expected to put onto the field, and you subtract that from the salary. And that's why, you have people out there, they're wondering oh, what, Mike Trout, -20? This site sucks, right? You hear people say that all the time, where it's okay, no, it's not saying Mike Trout has a -20 value based off of the player, right? It's based off of what he's projected to put onto the field, and you subtract the salary. That's where you get the value. That's where the economics come into play. So this was not really, it was a slight overpay. Let's assume it's around $5 million worth of cash. There will be cash going to the Mariners. So we don't know at least I haven't seen the exact total. Has anyone else seen the exact total? I haven't seen it. But let's assume it's around 5, right? With Polanco, he's going to be making, has an AAV of 10.5. Right? And that's another thing to consider, too. I didn't even think about that. When it comes to the Mariners payroll, man, oh man, you know how you can tell I have a new computer? Does anyone notice how quick I'm flipping through these screens? Fangraphs isn't loading. That's proof that I have a new computer. Just pointing that out. Oh, it's wonderful. Why did I get a new computer sooner? Anyway, but Polanco, is he on here? Where is Polanco? Okay, they haven't put Polanco on here. I don't know where he is. I guess they haven't, since they're wondering about the cash. I think they're probably just waiting. So, hey, 10.5 AAV. So, consider that, and that's going to increase the value going back to the Mariners. But then you look at the couple of pieces that went. Gabriel Gonzalez, Justin Topa. These are two guys that are leading the way in terms of value. Gabriel Gonzalez most notably. And then you get a lower level pitching prospect like Darren Brown. So let's talk about the Twins side of things. Like I said, it gives them freedom to use that designated hitter spot. So I think that's a good call for them. It lets Julian go play some second base. But let's start with, like I said, DeSclafani, right? He's going to be more of that depth guy for you. So right now they're projecting him to be more of a long reliever. I think that's fine, right? You just lost Sonny Gray. I'm not saying DeSclafani is Sonny Gray, but it gives them some innings. You need innings, right? And then Topa, he's going to be in the bullpen, and he was pretty solid last year. 75 games, FIP at a 3.15, 2.61 on the ERA. He's not really a big strikeout guy. 8 strikeouts per 9, gets a ton of ground balls. So, hey, that's a nice piece for their bullpen. I think that's pretty solid, right? So, okay, yeah, so they have him projected for middle relief. And let's talk about Gabriel Gonzalez. So right now, he is the number 79 prospect in the top 100. So Gabriel Gonzalez, if it's good timing that I just made my video on reviewing the top 100 prospects. And, Gabriel Gonzalez obviously came up at number 79. And basically the thing that I kind of kept, the word that I kept using for Gabriel Gonzalez is solid, right? When you look at the numbers from last year, hit 298, 361 on base, 476 on the slugging, 18 homers. He doesn't strike out a ton, 89, right? Could walk a little bit more. I think that plate discipline could be a little bit better. So, you're not seeing a ton of power at the moment, but you're not seeing like a whole lot of negative, in my opinion, right? Hits the ball hard. Probably just going to be more of a corner outfielder, maybe just going to, left, right field at some point. He's not going to blow you away in terms, he's not Jackson Holiday out here, right? But he's a solid prospect to add to your system. And what I like that the Twins did here is that they used Polanco to get some major league ready pieces that's going to help them this year. Helps them free up some playing time from other guys. But then you're also adding some youth for the farm system. I always like trades like that. You get a little bit of both. You get some major league and minor league. So, Gabriel Gonzalez, right? And again, it says right here, he only struck out 16.6% of the time in 2023, right? They said here his approach suffered when he moved up to high A, and the power hasn't fully come in yet, right? But they mentioned the exit velocities, right? So that's something to keep in mind, right? He hits the ball hard. So overall, hey, this is a guy to keep an eye out for. And he's got pretty solid grades overall. Not the most athletic guy, so I wonder if he's going to end up being a left fielder. All right, doesn't move. Well, it depends. Depends on where you play. But he's got a good arm, so maybe he could end up being a right fielder in some parks. We'll see. Like Fenway Park, like a big arm like that would be handy at Fenway Park. But then you look at the run, Fenway Park is a big space out in right field. I'm just using this as an example, right? So either way, has a big arm, so that's going to really come in handy in a corner outfield spot. Overall, I think it's a great prospect for them to get. And again, I don't think this is really an overpay. I guess it really just depends on where you're looking at it. Are you looking at it in terms of the Mariners' point of view, or are you looking at it for the Twins? Yeah, I think the Mariners had to give up a decent amount. But as the old saying goes, and I saw someone on Twitter say this the other day, say, I can't stand when someone says you got to give up something good to get something good. Well, what do you think? How does it freaking work? You got to give up something good to get something good, right? And Jorge Polanco, yeah, he's missed some time, but he's good. I'm just saying, I hate when people say, like, oh, I can't stand when people say that. It's like, well, what can you stand about it? I don't know. That's how trades work. If you want something good, you got to get something good. I'm just saying. Anyway, overall, I think it's a good trade for both sides. I like Polanco for the Mariners, if healthy. And for the Twins, hey, you get a decent package of everything here. So, good for them. Good for the Twins. Good for the Mariners. I like it. So, let's get to the next story, shall we? Let's get to the next story. So, alrighty. We got 350 people in the chat. Everyone, the like goal for tonight is 200. We're at 136. Come on, help us get to 200. Can we? Can we do it? I think we can do it. Let's do it. Here we go. Let's get to the next story. And we're going to talk a little Justin Turner, my ginger brethren. How you doing, Justin Turner? Here we go. And Justin Turner, according to John Morosi, it looks like a decision could occur this week. So, Justin Turner, I'd love for him to come back to the Red Sox. It I don't know. We just haven't heard a ton of connection there. I'm not really sure what to think when it comes to Justin Turner. There is a good argument for him to go back to the Red Sox, right? Gives them that right-handed hitter. So the one thing that I want people to pay attention to, right, with Justin Turner. Now, I might make some people upset about this one, but let's go pull up Turner here. Alrighty, so let's go to the batters. So Justin Turner last year, I understand. Justin Turner, he was a guy that I really enjoyed having him, right? He was a pretty solid bat. He provided some versatility. You know, good clubhouse guy. I liked him for the Red Sox. I think it was a good move. However, I need to point this out, and people are going to probably roll their eyes at me. However, listen, I'm not saying this is the right way, but I'm telling you, this is the way front offices think. They think value. This is kind of the way it is now. You're looking at the baseball economics, right, when it comes to offseason moves. Justin Turner last year, he was worth $9.6 million, right? So it really depends what he could be looking for. Now, if we were to go to baseball trade values, I just closed out my stream, so let's go baseball trade values. Here we go. So we can actually go look at the projected contract for Justin Turner. Oh, come on. We just talked about how the sites were loading. Oh, here we go. All right. We can go look at the player value timelines. I say it every single time. Use my code HYDE. You get access to the timelines when you have a subscription. And you get 10% off for the whole year. So Justin Turner. Let's take a look at what they're thinking here when it comes to his future value. They are projecting a 1-year, $6.3 million deal. Now, I think Turner probably ends up getting that. So you might be thinking, $6 million? Well, I know that sounds pretty cheap. But again, you have to consider the fact that he has been declining with his numbers in the last 3 years. $34 million in 21, $19 million in 22, not even right under $10 million last year. So as he gets older, and he had a pretty decent season last year, right? If we take a look, right? Yeah, solid. 276, a 345 on base, 455 on the slugging, 23 homers, a 114 WRC plus. But you have to consider the fact too that he is 39, right? And hey, I hate saying that. I love me some Justin Turner, right? But this is kind of how these front offices are operating. So it comes down to the fact, I'm seeing a lot of Red Sox fans out there saying, "Oh man, if they don't pay Justin Turner, I am done with this franchise." And it's kind of really, it's do they think it's worth it, pretty much. And so that's one thing I want people to keep in mind. And when it comes to the Red Sox, I honestly don't know if they're going to think it's worth it. I just don't, because what he made $15 million last year. So he made, I think, around $8 million with the salary, and I think he made like about $7 million with the buyout that he had. So he made $15 million. So most likely Justin Turner is going to be looking probably for something in that $12 million range, right? You could make the argument that, what he brings to the clubhouse, what he brings to the team, maybe that could be worth something. I don't know. The Red Sox, they're being very stingy. So I don't know if we're going to see him back with the Red Sox. I think it would be a great move. I would not hate it. But, they have been looking at other options. Duvall has been an option, right? We'll talk about Duvall here in just a little bit, right? They've been connected with Garrett Cooper in the last couple of days. That's something to think about. it looks, whatever the Red Sox are doing, they are looking for a right-handed bat that can back up something, right? Whether that's in the outfield, which I don't see why they would add something for the outfield at this point. They have so many outfielders. You already brought in Tyler O'Neill. Or you can bring in a guy that's going to back up first base. Tristan Casas, lefty bat, so maybe they would like a righty bat there, and Justin Turner played some first last year. And that's why Garrett Cooper has been coming up a little bit. And if we go take a look at Mr. Garrett Cooper, where is Garrett Cooper? So, they're not projecting a whole ton for him next year, but he's probably not going to be very expensive. And I know and that's where Red Sox fans are getting grumpy. So what are they projecting for Garrett Cooper? I mean, as you can see here, they're projecting a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. So he is definitely going to be cheaper than Justin Turner. And that could end up being, a significant difference. I can understand why the Red Sox would rather just have someone like Garrett Cooper, because you're probably looking at like a $5 million deal. You take the 3.4 that you see here in front of your face, factor in market a little bit, but for Garrett Cooper, I don't think the market is booming. I don't know. Let's just say $5 million for the year. Well, are you going to take Garrett Cooper, who hits lefties really well, hit 17 homers last year? If we actually take a look, this is something I want to point out, right? And this is where I always try to think numbers first. I don't lean into the emotions so much. I go first to the numbers, and that's, I go from there. All right, so if we take a look here, Garrett Cooper versus lefties last year, because again, the Red Sox are looking for a right-handed bat. They don't necessarily need a right-handed bat that's going to be able to hit against everything, because they have other options that you could work in. So really, they're just looking for a right-handed platoon bat. And Garrett Cooper makes sense. 57 games last year, he hit .324 against lefties, and he had a 145 WRC plus against lefties. While Justin Turner, on the other hand, he had, against lefties, also a very good WRC plus, a 142. So let's compare. Garrett Cooper had a 145. Justin Turner had a 142. Garrett Cooper is also younger. So, when you're looking at the two, Red Sox fans, are you going to pay 10 to 12 million for Justin Turner? Or would you rather pay $5 million for Garrett Cooper, who probably a very good chance he ends up giving you the same exact results, at least on the field? Now, if you want to bring in the argument, clubhouse guy, chemistry, okay, well, that's a different argument. All right? But I just want to clear this up for Red Sox fans out there, right? Saying, oh, we better get Justin Turner back. Listen. Just, at the end of the day, you're paying for production, right? For the most part, right? But you're also going to, pay for the good person too, good clubhouse guy, chemistry, right? That comes along. But I haven't heard anything bad about Garrett Cooper before. I'm not trying to say Garrett Cooper would be a better signing than Justin Turner. I'm just saying you can pay Garrett Cooper for the pretty much same production for a younger guy for much cheaper than Justin Turner. That's where the Red Sox are looking at it from. So keep that in mind. As for some other destinations for Justin Turner, well, if we're looking at some teams that could use a righty bat, well, Arizona, that one point, I thought Arizona could have been a good team for him. Hey, the Cubs, they still haven't done anything with Cody Bellinger. What do you do there? That's been a team I'm thinking, maybe Turner could end up going to the Cubbies. That could be a good piece for him. Morale, he can go play some other positions. Maybe you can move him out to center. I don't know. Cubs fans, let me know how you think about that one. It'll be interesting. I think Turner could be a pretty good piece for him. We have seen the connection with the Mets. They could use a designated hitter. And, you know, a 1 year, 10, 12 million, I could see the Mets maybe doing that. But then again, you got David Stearns. David Stearns, I mean this in a good way, he's kind of a nerd, right? He's one of the nerds. And he's going to look at exactly what I just showed you. And he's going to do that. But then you can look at the clubhouse chemistry thing, right? And you can see, you know, the Mets, they had some issues last year in the clubhouse. Didn't seem like a cohesive unit, and maybe Turner helps them out there, right? And hey, used to be with the Mets too. Maybe round 2 could be a little bit better. So, you know, maybe you could do a team like the Angels, but they look pretty full right now, so I don't know if that's going to be something. And if I'm looking at maybe, I don't know. Not sure. Don't think, I mean, Texas, they've been looking at the 1 year deals. But, you know, could that be an option for them? You know, 1 year, $10 million for Turner. You can bring them in, gives them a chance to go after another World Series. So, you know, you got Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford's going to be a beast. My goodness, Wyatt Langford is amazing. But that could be a veteran guy you put in for right now. I don't know. So maybe figure something out there. I don't know, man. There's, you know, not, in my opinion, not a lot when it comes to, you know, teams like jumping at the bit to get Justin Turner, right? John Morosi also mentioned how the Giants, you know, are there, and then the Blue Jays. Don't forget about the Blue Jays, too. You know, you could maybe see something like that. The Blue Jays, they've been looking to add something. They were connected with Jorge Soler at one point, and I don't know what's going on with that now. So maybe they could pivot. Right? And honestly, I feel like the Blue Jays, I don't know, it might be a pretty good fit. You know, gives them a little mojo, right? Gives them a little something. I don't know. But let's see, man. Justin Turner could be on the move this week. I feel like this offseason, as slow as it's been, anytime we've gotten some kind of a report of a certain market or a certain player could be on the move this coming week, or this market is going to heat up, I feel like it's been pretty consistent, right? We saw the report last week with the relief pitching market, and then we saw all the relievers come off the board last week, right? And then this week, right, I think there was a report about like mid-range starting pitching coming off, you know? But when you look at that, not really a whole lot has happened when it comes to the starting pitching. You know, we saw Hicks not too long ago, right? Manaea not too long ago. Paxton went to the Dodgers, so that was one. You know? So we've seen some moves, but nothing crazy, right? Alex Wood just went to Oakland. Look at Oakland. Look at Oakland spending. It doesn't even say how much they spent, but that was something. All right, so this market is slowly getting going because you have to get it going. You got freaking spring training coming up. My goodness. But let's get to some other news here. Not a whole lot, now that we've gotten past Polanco, and Turner. Not really too much here. However, we will dive in to the Angels signing Aaron Hicks to the 1 year deal, right? And, Aaron Hicks was a great story last year where he was just doing terrible with the Yankees. Then he went to Baltimore, and the dude was just setting the world on fire. Didn't he homer in the postseason too? I think that happened, right? If we go take a look at Aaron Hicks, actually, let me pull up the Rangers here. Or sorry, not the Rangers, the Angels. And we can see what they have projected. So as of right now, they're looking at him as more of like that fourth, fifth outfielder. All right, when it comes to their outfield right now, you got Trout, you got Ward, and you got Moniak. Listen, I will say this. I did suggest at one point, maybe Taylor Ward could be a trade piece. I'm just speculating. I wonder, because there had been talks about Mike Trout moving to left field. right? Now, with Aaron Hicks, I don't really know if that's going to be a great option for center field, right? Mostly played left field last year. Well, no, I take that back. I am surprised. I thought Aaron Hicks played more left last year. He actually played a lot. That's interesting. This is actually interesting. In my head, I'm thinking Aaron Hicks is a left fielder, mostly. You know why? Because I think it was because of that bad play that he made at Yankee Stadium. How was his fielding last year? Okay, he didn't have a great total. Yeah, so maybe that. Okay, so maybe center is not really a good spot. So center field, he was very bad. Okay, do not put Aaron Hicks out in center field. That is not a good idea. So, it's interesting, right? I don't know, man. I wonder what they do here. I wonder if it's possible that you could trade Ward, right? Maybe get some pitching. I did suggest an idea where maybe you send Ward to the Marlins. Maybe you can get like a Edward Cabrera, maybe Trevor Rogers. Maybe you could do something like that. So, maybe like an upside kind of a guy. And then if you trade Ward, that frees up the outfield. And then, because you got Adele, you got Moniak, and now you got Hicks. So I just don't, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of playing time for Joe Adele and Hicks. Well, like Adele, yeah, because he's the righty. He can go with Moniak. But, Hicks, I don't know. I wonder about that. I wonder if Hicks is going to, where is he going to fit in here? So keep an eye out, man. Keep an eye out. I wonder if Taylor Ward could maybe be a trade piece. I wonder. So, but what could this mean for Cody Bellinger, right? Cody Bellinger and the Angels, there was a connection there. So I think now you can pretty much take the Angels off the board when it comes to Cody Bellinger. And I've been saying it, for a while now. Well, I first thought the Giants were a great fit, and then they decided, nah, he's too expensive. Jung-Hoo Lee, right? And I said this last night. I feel like he's just going to go back to the Cubs, right? It's a no-brainer to me. It's a no-brainer. Maybe something else could emerge for him, but with the Angels, I would imagine the Angels are off the board now. I just think it has to be the Cubs. And then, don't count out the Blue Jays. So, pretty much, I think this is going to be Cubs-Blue Jays in the end. So, we'll have to wait and see. But we also got a little something on Brandon Belt, speaking of the Rangers. Let's refresh. Ad blocker, go away. All right, so the Rangers have discussed Brandon Belt according to Buster Olney. Yeah, you could see that, right? Bruce Bochy, sure, could make some sense. But, if we take a look here, and Brandon Belt at this point in his career, I'd imagine, probably wants to keep trying to go to some teams that are going to be in contention. Now, the interesting part about this is he's going to be more of just, a lefty guy for the DH role at this point. They are projecting Wyatt Langford to be that DH, which that dude's going to be awesome, right? I think it's fine if they end up getting him. I think it would be a nice addition. But what this tells me, though, is once again, the Rangers are just doing these small deals. I'm telling you right now. Every day as time passes, I don't think Montgomery's going back. I don't know, unless maybe they can work some kind of an agreement out. I don't know if this would actually be something that would fly, but basically do a 1-year deal. Say hey, come back for a year. We'll figure out your contract. But that doesn't seem like something the players' union would want, right? I would imagine that would be kind of, I don't think Scott Boras would want that. That's like the only way at this point I could see him going back. Because they're not doing any long-term deals for anyone, right? I don't know, man. I am starting to think with Jordan Montgomery, I said this last night, and I'll say it again. I just don't think he's going back. And the only team that's left that makes the most sense are the Red Sox. And I think at this point, he's kind of getting backed into a corner because there's not really a whole lot unless a surprise team comes out of nowhere. I mentioned the Cubs last night. I mentioned the Phillies. I don't know, man. Maybe like I even thought maybe the Nationals or like some weird team like that could pop, but I don't see the Nationals doing it because they got all this stuff going on with all the ownership and whatnot. So I don't see them doing it. The Padres don't got money. The Diamondbacks already signed someone in Eduardo Rodriguez. The Braves probably aren't going to do it. Right? No. I don't know. Like, I don't see the Phillies. I will never trust Dombrowski until they're completely out of something. They have popped up with him before, so look out for Philadelphia, but they already have a lot of contracts. I don't know. Houston surprised everyone with Hader. Could Houston maybe just come out of nowhere? Probably not, but who saw Hader going to the Astros? No one saw that. So I don't know. And he would stay in Texas. And, and the Astros, if you look at it from their point of view, if you can't beat him, sign him. Right? And he was very good against them in the playoffs last year. I don't think the Astros would be an option. But then again, I don't know. Maybe they find the money. They found it for Hader. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Am I going to talk myself into the Astros maybe being a contender for Jordan Montgomery? Astros fans, let me know what you think about that. I don't think I'm on to anything there. I don't. But I'm just trying to come up with teams. In the end, the Orioles, I thought, were always a really good idea, but they're just not going to spend the money. The Angels, I don't know. His wife is in Boston. I don't think they would want to go out there. I don't know about that. I'm sorry. I don't see anything else except the Red Sox. So I think in the end, what's going to end up happening, it really comes down to what the Red Sox want to do, right? Because they both want each other. There's mutual interest there. He wants to go there. And then, they need pitching, right? He has expressed interest before. It's coming out in reports. And I was told that a long time ago. So it makes a lot of sense to go to the Red Sox. And and I made this argument. If he goes to the Red Sox on like a 3-year deal, 4-year deal, I still think that's going to be good for him. He's a durable guy. So when he's 34, 35, he can just go back out onto the market again and he can go get himself like another 3-year deal. So I think he'll be fine. He'll basically just do what Chris Bassett did. Get the 3-year deal like Bassett did with the Blue Jays. I'm just saying. So, listen, I'm not trying to be biased here, but really when it comes down to it, the Red Sox are the best fit overall unless a surprise team like the Cubs or the Phillies or maybe the Astros, I don't know how I'm talking myself into that one, step up and do it, right? And I think that's what all of these teams are waiting for, as well as Snell. They have read Boris's hand like there is no tomorrow. We'll see what these guys end up doing, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We always hear the phrase, Boris always gets his deal. Is he going to get his deal here? I don't know, everyone. I don't know. But everyone, I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. I'm going to wrap this up. If you can, If you can, on the way out, hit that like button for me. And if anyone is new in the chat, think about subscribing down below. This was a bit of a surprise stream tonight. I was kind of going throughout the day today, thinking, Might not be enough to really talk about tonight, but we got something, and I was able to put together a couple other things. So, but yeah. But if you can, hit that like button for me. Make sure the bells are turned on as well. Excuse me. I did notice on the statistics that some, maybe not all, but some of you are not turning on the bell. Turn that bell on. I just put on a video a little earlier, and if you got the bell turned on, you probably saw it. So, everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to finish setting up everything here on the computer. My goodness, this is a dream. It is amazing how quick this thing is moving. And I want to thank you all for helping me be able to invest in a new computer. So, everyone, thank you so much. I'm going to hop out of here. Don't forget to hit that like on the way out. And everyone, I will talk to you next time.